Okay, we are at our road layer, and we're going to turn the labels on for this. So first thing, we have changed our symbology of our roads to this here, the minor road symbology, and now let's turn the labels on. Turn the labels on, and you're going to see this, which is terrible looking, daunting, kind of impossible to make sense of exactly what you're supposed to do here. So we'll walk through the steps. Step 1, let's see what different types of roads we have. So open the attribute table. We'll go over here to the base geographic names. That's what we're labeling based on. And we see we have US highways, right? A lot of US highways, state highways, unclassified highways, and then a bunch of, frontage roads, main streets, etc., etc. So what we really only need for this map at this scale is these US highways, right? Everything else, for the scale that we're working on, we don't really necessarily need, roads that go through downtowns. Even state highways in this part of southwest Colorado are kind of like, mountain roads that connect ski areas or connect trails or things like that. They're not really like thoroughfares, and that's what we're really looking at. It's like, what were the highways that kind of go through from point to point? Whereas if we look at the state highways, let's like find a couple, right? They're kind of like old railroad corridors. They're pieces that connect towns to discrete point locations like ski areas or things like that. So yeah, what we just need are these US highways. Okay, so how are we going to do this? First thing we're going to do, and I've already done this once, and I'll show you kind of like what that looks like, and then I'll work the way through it. So I made a label feature class. I called this one US Highways, and I label it. Let me turn the labels on. Oops. This is what I'm going to have, right? Just these shields that have the state highway symbol marker, and then the road number of that highway in the shield. So the process of doing so is actually pretty simple. It just takes a few kind of weird pieces. So we'll turn this one off. Let's turn this US highway off, and then we'll just kind of make it again. I was going to do both state and US highways, but we'll just do US highways. So I'll just make it in this feature class here. Okay, first thing we need to do, go to the SQL query, and we'll say we want this where the base geographic name is equal to, or not the base geographic name, look back at our attribute table. We're looking for this. The prefix type abbreviation is US Highway. Prefix type abbreviation is equal to US Highway. Hit apply. And now if we were to label this feature, all we would see are these US Highway symbols, right? Next thing I'm going to do, let's put the label placement so it operates perpendicular instead of parallel to the road. Now we can see a little bit more cleanly what we have. You can see US Highway 550, right, cuts down through here. 160 is over here. Down here in Durango, where the two highways converge, we can see a bunch of different labels because there's different like road segments. This is one of the issues with road labels, is there's often a bunch of different line segments that indicate different topographies of the road network, right? And so when we get around cities or places where different highways intersect, oftentimes we have a cluster where there's like little road segments that are connected together. So we'll figure out how to deal with that here momentarily. Okay, so we have our roads. They are perpendicular to, or our road labels are perpendicular to our highway symbology, and we only have the US highways in this feature class, right? In this label class up here, we're only using the US highways. Okay, so the next thing we do is we want this to have this appearance. So basically, this is saying that if I pick one of these symbols here, it's going to put that label inside the symbol, right? And you can access this. There's all sorts of different symbols you can use up here, points of interest, callouts, etc. Right? We'll go to Shield, and let's go to this one, Shield 7, which is matching of the US highway symbology. Okay, so now we have where it says US highway, and it's located in the shield. So now what we have to do is remove the US highway and any other associated text from the label, and then change the size of the shield so that the highway number, all we're interested in is getting the 550 or the 160, the 491. We're just interested in getting that inside the shield and that placed. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We're going to go to this arcade expression, right? And I made one already. I'll just copy this one over from the previous. And basically what this does, this little line of code here, it's creating a variable of all the different names of the feature, looking for places where it has anything except numerical digits, and just kind of dumping everything except the numerical digits. So I'll just give you this line of code. I'll just copy that in. Go to State Highway. Okay. So now, if I hit apply, now we just have the numbers inside the shields. Okay, next step. Let's go to Symbol. We'll come down to this callout tab. And here we can change the size of the shield. We could change the color too, right? We could make it like blue. We wouldn't want to, but we could. Right? Let's have white. Let's change the size of it to like 15. That looks pretty good. Now all of our highway symbols are in the shields. And then the last thing I'm going to do, right, we have too many of them. Let's just remove duplicates kind of within a set range. So we'll say remove within a fixed distance, set this to 150. Now we have a nice evenly spaced out set of highways. Our map reader can connect 550 easily through the landscape, or 160 through the landscape, but they're not so many that it's becoming this like visual cluster down here on Mesa Verde, for example. We don't need 3 different labels for 160, just having one is fine. But we want to make sure that there's also enough connectivity, right? We don't want to have, if we remove all, then we just have one for 550, and it's hard to kind of visually connect that. Okay, so that's the steps from going from, let's see if I can turn, going from this mess, right, to this. Okay.